Here's an expanded version of Scene 1, reaching closer to 1,000 words, keeping the emotional depth and dialogue intact. Dash dash dash. The sunlight spilled through the small kitchen window, catching the dust motes that danced lazily in the air. It was early Saturday morning, and the smell of pancakes, the sweet, comforting aroma that seemed to fill the house on weekends, drifted around the room. Lily sat at the small wooden table, her hands curled around a chipped mug of cocoa. She stared into its warm brown surface as if the swirling liquid could answer the question twisting inside her mind. Her mother had left years ago, leaving behind a void that sometimes ached in ways she couldn't explain. Her reflection in the hallway mirror had become a source of quiet torment. Some days she liked what she saw, and others, she didn't. Mark, her father, moved around the kitchen with the practiced ease of a man who had learned to juggle work, bills, and single parenthood with quiet resilience. He hummed softly under his breath as he flipped a pancake, the golden brown circle landing perfectly in the pan. His eyes flicked toward Lily every few seconds, noticing the way her fingers fidgeted with the edge of her sleeve, the slight slump in her shoulders, the way her eyes seemed distant even in the warmth of the morning light. "Dad," Lily's voice broke through the comfortable hum of the morning, tentative, almost swallowed by the air. Mark wiped his hands on a dish towel, his brow creasing. "Yes, Pumpkin. What's on your mind?" She hesitated. The words had been sitting in her chest for days, bouncing around with a kind of anxious insistence. She twisted the mug nervously. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course," he said, crouching slightly to meet her gaze, his voice soft but attentive. Am I beautiful?" The question hung in the air like fragile glass. Lily's eyes lowered to the table, waiting for an answer she already feared might hurt. Mark froze for a heartbeat. Not because he didn't know what to say, but because the simplicity of the question demanded more than a simple answer. Many adults would have offered flattery, an automatic line meant to comfort, to soothe, to protect. But Mark wanted to give her more than that. He wanted her to feel real, deep, enduring beauty, not the fleeting kind painted in magazines or whispered in empty compliments. He took a slow, deliberate breath, and knelt fully to her level. He reached for her hands, clasping them gently in his own, grounding her in the warmth of his presence. "Lily, you're not just beautiful," he began carefully, each word measured, chosen. "You're strong. You're kind. You have a heart that cares so deeply about others, and you make the people around you feel seen, even when you're not looking for attention. Beauty isn't just about what people notice on the outside. It's about who you are on the inside, the choices you make, the courage you show, the love you give." Lily blinked, her lips parting slightly as if to speak, but no words came. She had expected the automatic answer, the reassurance that would comfort her and let her move on. Instead, she felt something heavier, something truer, and it stirred a strange warmth in her chest. "Really?" she whispered, a flicker of hope in her voice mingled with doubt. "Really?" Mark said, his smile gentle, tender, but firm in its conviction. "And that kind of beauty, it's the kind that lasts. Not the kind that fades when people grow older or when the world judges you unfairly. It's the kind that no one can take away. Ever." Lily's fingers tightened around his, and for a moment, the world seemed to shrink to just the two of them. The clatter of plates, the sizzling of the pancakes, the faint hum of the refrigerator, all of it receded, leaving her in the quiet resonance of her father's words. She looked at him, her eyes glistening, the beginnings of tears threatening to spill. I never thought of it that way," she admitted. Her voice was small but sincere, tinged with awe. "I always feel ugly sometimes. Like people only see what's wrong with me." Mark shook his head, squeezing her hands gently. "Lily, everyone feels that way sometimes. People are too quick to focus on flaws, too quick to compare themselves to others. But that doesn't define you. It doesn't define your worth. You have so much inside of you, so much light, that anyone who truly looks will see it, even if it's hidden under shyness, doubt, or worry." She swallowed hard, trying to absorb the weight of what he said. There was a clarity in his words that cut through years of insecurity she didn't even realize she carried. "So, it's not about, like, my hair or my face or how tall I am?" she asked, hesitating as the words tumbled out. "No," Mark said firmly, shaking his head with a soft chuckle. "Those things are just parts of you, not the whole story. Beauty isn't a checklist. It's in how you laugh, how you care, how you stick up for what's right. It's in the courage you show when you're scared, in the kindness you give when no one is watching. That's what makes someone truly beautiful." Lily exhaled slowly, her shoulders loosening as the tension she hadn't realized she carried began to melt. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel the need to hide from herself or the world. She felt seen, not just for her appearance, but for the essence of who she was. Dad, she said softly, her voice trembling. Thank you. I didn't expect you to answer like that. Mark smiled, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. Most people wouldn't, he admitted. But you deserve the truth. I want you to know your worth, Lily. I want you to grow up understanding that what's inside matters more than what's outside. Because that's the part of you that lasts forever. She leaned her head against his shoulder, and he wrapped an arm around her, holding her close. In that quiet, sunlit kitchen, the bond between them felt deeper than ever. It wasn't just father and daughter, it was a sanctuary of honesty, of love, and of unwavering support. For the first time in a long time, Lily felt a sense of calm, a quiet certainty. She realized that beauty wasn't a mask she needed to wear, nor was it a prize she had to earn. It was already there, alive in the way she thought, felt, and acted. It was in the honesty she shared with her father, in the courage she would carry forward, in the kindness that already radiated from her small, brave heart. And as the sunlight continued to pour through the kitchen window, casting golden patterns across the table, Lily knew something fundamental about herself had shifted. She was not just a girl with questions and doubts. She was a girl with a soul that shone brightly, and no one, not even the harsh judgments of the world, could ever take that away. Mark stood, holding her gaze one last time before returning to the pancakes, and Lily watched him, feeling a newfound appreciation for the man who had become her anchor in a world that sometimes felt too big, too fast, too confusing. She understood now that beauty, real beauty, wasn't fleeting, it was eternal, and it lived in her heart. If you want, I can expand scene 2 to 1,000 words next, keeping the emotional depth and showing her internal transformation after this moment. Do you want me to do that? Here's an expanded version of scene 2, reaching around 1,000 words, continuing the emotional arc from scene 1. The afternoon sun had begun its slow descent, painting the world in soft, golden hues. Lily sat on the old porch swing, her legs swinging gently back and forth, feeling the slight chill of the breeze against her skin. The air smelled faintly of earth and flowers, carrying the aroma from the small garden her father tended behind the house. The garden had become one of her favorite places in the world, a quiet sanctuary where the rhythms of life, plants growing, bees buzzing, soil crumbling, seemed simple and true. Today, though, Lily's thoughts were not on flowers or vegetables. They were on her father's words from that morning, words that had settled into her mind like seeds taking root. She watched him from the swing. Mark was crouched near the tomato plants, hands deep in the soil, moving with the same steady care he had always shown her. Dirt smudged his hands and knuckles, yet he worked with precision, tending to each plant as if it were the most important thing in the world. She admired him, always had, but today admiration mixed with a strange, budding realization. His words had done something inside her. They had changed the way she saw herself. After a long pause, Lily called out softly, "Dad." He straightened, brushing the dirt off his knees and glancing up with a smile. "Yes, Lily." She hesitated, swinging her legs again, feeling the rhythm of the swing slow as she gathered courage. Why didn't you just say I was beautiful?" Her voice was a mixture of curiosity, slight frustration, and a hint of lingering doubt. Mark chuckled, a warm, low sound that carried a comforting weight. He walked over and sat on the edge of the swing beside her, careful not to jostle her. "Because I wanted you to know something more important than that. If I just said you were beautiful, you might have smiled, felt happy for a moment, and then gone on thinking what you always thought, that you had to look a certain way to matter. I wanted you to understand that beauty isn't just what people see on the outside. It's what's in here." He tapped his chest lightly, and she felt the thump of his heartbeat under the words, grounding her in the truth he was trying to share. Lily frowned slightly, the swing's motion slowing as her curiosity sharpened. "But everyone always talks about beauty like it's just hair and eyes and clothes. And sometimes I feel like I don't measure up." Mark nodded slowly, watching her expression carefully. "I know. I felt the same way when I was younger. People are quick to judge, quick to compare, quick to point out what's wrong, instead of what's right. But that kind of beauty, it's temporary. What really matters is what you carry inside you. Your courage, your kindness, your honesty, those are the things that make someone truly beautiful. Those are the things people never forget." Lily's gaze dropped to her hands. She didn't feel fully convinced yet, but something in his words resonated deep down, stirring a part of her that had always been unsure. So, it's not about being perfect? She asked, voice barely above a whisper. No, Mark said, shaking his head. Perfection doesn't exist. People will try to sell you that idea in magazines, movies, even at school. But the truth is, beauty isn't a checklist. It's how you treat others, how you face your fears, how you stay true to yourself even when the world tries to tell you to be someone else. That's what really matters. Lily shifted on the swing, resting her chin on her knees as she absorbed the words. The truth of them was almost overwhelming, like a gentle wave washing over her insecurities. She thought about the times she had felt ugly or unworthy, the moments when she had avoided mirrors or avoided smiling in front of others, convinced that the world was measuring her and finding her lacking. And yet here was her father, the one person whose opinion mattered most, telling her that none of that mattered, not really. Dad, she murmured, turning her head to look at him, do you really think people will see me like that? Even when I don't feel it myself. Mark reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I know they will, he said gently. Because when you shine from the inside, it doesn't matter what's outside. People notice it. They feel it. And even if they don't always say it, the way you carry yourself leaves an impression far deeper than appearances ever could. That's the beauty that counts. A silence settled between them, filled only by the distant hum of life outside the porch, birds chirping, the wind rustling leaves, a neighbor's dog barking faintly. Lily leaned back against the swing, the words swirling in her mind like a quiet mantra. She realized that for so long, she had measured herself by a superficial standard, chasing an idea of beauty that wasn't real. Now, she felt a spark of understanding, a seed of self-worth taking root that she hadn't known was possible. I didn't expect you to answer like that, she admitted softly, a small, shy smile forming on her lips. I thought you'd just tell me I was beautiful and leave it at that. Mark smiled, the kind of smile that carried warmth, pride, and patience all at once. Most people would, he admitted. But I wanted you to know that the truth is far more important than a quick answer. I want you to grow up knowing your worth isn't measured by what people see, or by what society tells you. It's measured by the strength of your heart, by your courage, by the choices you make every day. Lily shifted, resting her head against his shoulder, feeling the solid comfort of his presence. I think I understand now, she said softly, almost to herself. It's like, even when I feel small, I can still be beautiful. Yes, Mark said, nodding. Exactly. Even in moments when you doubt yourself, even when you feel overlooked or uncertain, that inner beauty doesn't disappear. It's always there, quietly shaping the world around you. And when you learn to see it in yourself, you'll carry a confidence that nothing can shake. Lily took a deep breath, letting it out slowly. The tension in her chest had eased, replaced with a lightness she hadn't felt in years. She realized that the questions she had been asking herself weren't wrong or silly, they were part of understanding who she was. And for the first time, she felt a sense of clarity. Thanks, Dad, she said, her voice steady now, warm with gratitude. For telling me the truth. For seeing me. Mark wrapped an arm around her shoulders, holding her close. Always, Lily. I'll always see you. And I'll always tell you the truth, even when it's hard. Because you deserve that. They sat together on the porch swing, the sun dipping lower in the sky, casting long, golden shadows across the garden. Lily felt a new kind of strength stirring inside her, a quiet certainty that she was more than appearances, more than what anyone else might say about her. She was strong, she was kind, she was brave, and in that knowledge, she felt truly, unshakably beautiful. As the wind rustled the leaves and the scent of soil and flowers mingled in the evening air, Lily understood something profound. Beauty wasn't something to chase or prove. It was already within her, in every laugh, every kind gesture, every brave step she took. And with her father beside her, guiding, loving, and believing in her, she knew that she would never forget it. If you want, I can now create image prompts for both Scene 1 and Scene 2 that capture the emotional depth and warmth of these moments. This could be useful if you want to visualize or illustrate the story. Do you want me to do that next?